Good evening, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to Mind the Mental Monday. Welcome, welcome, welcome. As you're coming in, let me know how you're doing. I missed you all last Monday, and so I'm excited to do this Mind the Mental Monday tonight. Um, and this is why you can't do things in haste because in my haste. I don't think that I put the title on the Facebook, uh, on the Facebook page. So I'm sorry about that. Um, but tonight we're going to be continuing. So 2 weeks ago, for the holiday, the last episode of Mind the Mental Monday, I talked about starting over. And I talked about, how there is no shame in the game if you feel the need, if you're at a place in your life where you feel the need to start over. There are times where many of us have had to do that at some point in life. It could be starting over a new relationship. It could be starting over in a new job or a new career path. It could be starting over in a business. I mean, it could be a variety of things, friendships. I mean, there are a variety of areas of life where sometimes we have to start over. So, tonight, I'm going to be sort of talking more about that. I'm going to do kind of a series of Monumental Mondays about that. I think it's a good time because, this is like the time of year that we sort of think of like after Labor Day, it's like summer break is over and people are kind of getting back to the grind and getting back to, people are starting new jobs and people are in school and they're starting maybe um, a new year in school or something. And, people are having to, that's not really starting over, but in some ways it is because you're kind of, you're starting something new and something fresh that you haven't necessarily done before, learning some new things perhaps that maybe you hadn't learned before. And so it kind of feels in a way like you're starting over, particularly in school, like if you're going from, middle school to high school or something like that, or high school to college and all the different levels. As you go to those different levels, in some ways it is like starting over because often you're going to be starting over with new people, new classmates, perhaps making new friends and, new relationships, new teachings and new things that you're going to be learning. So, uh, everybody kind of goes through these seasons of in some way, in some shape, some form, starting over. But tonight, I want to talk particularly about seeking peace as in your start over season. And I have to say that I sort of you know, I'm not going to say I stole it from my husband because, we're one, and I always say to him that what's mine is mine and what's his is mine. And so he started a sermon series yesterday called Seeking Peace. And that it really struck me because you all always hear me using the word intentional, right? Being intentional. And so when when I saw the sermon title was Seeking Peace, I thought about how we have to be intentional in seeking peace in all kinds of life situations. That peace is not something that just comes by happenstance, but it is indeed something that we are to seek. And in order to get to peace, we have to kind of relinquish some things to get to peace. And so the scriptural text that he used yesterday, and I'm probably going in a little bit of a different direction with this than he did yesterday. And I don't know where the sermon series is going to lead to, but I'm loving it. It's only the first one, but there, we're living in a time where there is so much unrest, and there is just everywhere you turn, it's like there's a lack of peace. Every which way you turn, we have our own government like waging war on certain cities in our country, which is crazy. We have other countries that are just at war, that are, even committing genocide. When you talk about like the Palestinian situation, and when you look at Ukraine and the war over there in Congo, um, you know, all over the world, there are these pockets of unrest. And if we don't intentionally seek peace in the midst of it, we will find ourselves literally losing our minds. And so, a part of seeking peace is being able to seek it and find it in different areas of your life. So, what I'm going to be talking about is, seeking peace in your start over season. I talked, when I spoke about starting over a couple of weeks ago, I talked about some of the reasons that people maybe fear starting over, or why they might feel anxiety around the need to start over. Sometimes people feel, if they have to start over, they feel like they failed. They feel like the reason that they're starting over is because they failed at whatever it was that they were trying to accomplish. Well, failure is something that's going to happen. And failure often, or what we might deem as failure, is often the best way that we learn. I look at my little um, baby granddaughter, who just started walking good. Um, but as she was learning, she would fall on her bottom, and she just pop right back up, right? Now, if she knew any better, she might have looked at that falling on her butt as like a failure. She might have, decided, oh, I fell, so that means that I'm not supposed to walk right now. But she didn't do that. No, every time, and consistently, every single time she fell on her bottom, she would just pop right back up and go right back at it. She would, and then now she's just got starting to walk good, but now she's trying to run, and she's trying to get the running together. And a couple times, we had them over the weekend, and a couple times she kind of was kind of running, and she fell, and just fell forward, and then, kind of look to see, am I going to get any kind of sympathy from this? And then if not, then she just popped right back up. Or she might, sometimes if she didn't pop right back up, she would start off by just crawling again and that would last, I don't know, 3 seconds. She'd crawl a little bit and she'd get right back up. Or she might go into a little bear walk, and like, oh wait, remember, hey, I can do this. I can walk. I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna stand up, and I'm going to do this. She has a determination, as most babies do, who are able to do those things. And so, um, we need to start, kind of look at babies sometimes, and just learn from them, because when they're that young, they haven't yet learned fear. They are invincible. The oldest granddaughter she'll climb up on a high shelf and not even think about it. She'll try get up on something and jump, and she has no fear whatsoever. And so, we that's fear is something that we learn. as we get older from people, from adults who every time we do something that looks a little scary, they jump and they're like, "Oh, no, don't do that. Don't, no, stop. No." We kind of get we get fear instilled in us very early in life. And as we get older, sometimes those fears um take over in ways that we don't need to allow them to. Um, just like a little baby, when we have those times where we might fall on our bottom or flat on our face, it might be uncomfortable, it might even hurt, but we have to make the determination to get back up. And even if we have to start over, even if we have to go back to crawling just for a minute or bear walking just for a minute, recognizing that when we start over, it doesn't mean we're going to have to stay in the place where we started, but it just means that we have a determination that even if we fall, even if we, get tripped up, even if we think that maybe we took off a little too fast the first time and now we kind of need to dial it back and kind of slow it down and kind of start over again with a little more um a little more of a direction and more steps, taking those baby steps that we might have tried to skip when we tried it before. It doesn't mean that that's a bad thing. It doesn't mean that we fail, but when the failure would be in giving up. The failure would be if you learned some lessons in that process, but then you didn't take those lessons and use them to try again, or even to do something new and do it better. That might be where that's where the failure comes in. So when we're starting over, the reason that we often lack peace in the start over season is, when we're getting to a new season, there's trepidation because we don't know. Sometimes we don't know what to expect. And so we kind of fear the unknown. We think that we failed before and therefore we're going to fail again. Or we think that because we tripped up before that we're not going to have the capacity to get back up. We're not going to have be able to gain the knowledge that we need to take those steps forward. We just start that stinking thinking that I've talked about a lot that I get from my aunt. Um, my only living aunt now on my father's side of the family. Um, we get that stinking thinking and we we self-sabotage. Um, before we even try again, we've already counted ourselves out. And that is something that, I will continually want to encourage those of you who listen or who watch Mind the Mental Monday is to don't ever count yourself out. That is the biggest, I think, one of the biggest lessons that I was taught that my siblings and I were taught by our mother is don't ever count yourself out. Because if you count yourself out, if you don't at least try, you for sure won't get anywhere. So, all right. So tonight, let's talk a little bit um, seeking peace in your starting over season. Um, And before I actually get into the topic, I'm sorry, but I meant to do this actually to begin with. I want to give a few birthday shout outs. And I need to do it now because if I save it until the end, the way my mind is set up, I might forget and then it'll be over and I'll be like, oh, I meant to give some birthday shout outs. So I want to give birthday shout outs first because her birthday is first in this order. My sister Debbie, who watches My Mental Monday on YouTube. Had a birthday on August 19th. And so I want to give her a shout out. I want to shout out um, my manager and my team member, Joy. I haven't done birthday shout outs before, so those of you who I haven't shouted you out for your birthday before, don't get mad at me. It's something new. I'm just starting. So don't be mad. Don't think I left you out. I promise you I haven't, and I won't. But Joy also had a birthday on August. Oh Lord, Joy's going to kill me. It's either the 28th or 29th. Joy, don't kill me. Don't It's the 29th. It's the 29th. August 29th. I want to shout out Joy. I want to shout out my oldest baby, my oldest daughter who turned 30 on August 31st. She's the one that gave us the two beautiful grandchildren. I want to shout out my husband whose birthday is tomorrow. I'm looking forward to celebrating him tomorrow. And my baby girl, whose birthday is Friday, September 12th. So, and she's gonna be turning 25. So I keep telling them I don't know how I have these 30 and my son would be 28 in November, and my baby is about to be 25, and I'm only 32, so I'm not sure how I have children that old, but that's my story. I'm sticking to it. They're all miracle babies, okay? Um, but anyway, I just want to shout them out because I love you guys immensely, and thank you for always supporting me. And I hope you either had or will have the best birthday ever. All right, blessings to you all. All right, let's get back to the topic tonight. All right, starting over, seeking peace in your starting over season. So we talked about how uncertain it can feel when you have to start over. I think about in particular people that have recently retired. And a lot of times when people like first retire, there's sort of this, on the one hand, it's like, oh, it feels good. I don't have to, answer to anybody anymore. I don't have to be up at a certain time and at a job at a particular time. I can arrange my time in the way that I want to, and I can have more freedom and all those kinds of things. But on the other hand, it's kind of like, but then again, what am I going to do with all of this time? Now, I know a lot of people who are retired and really seem to be doing way more in retirement than when they were working. So you get both sides of that coin, but a lot of times when people retire, it feels like, oh, I've got to start over. Being an empty nester. It's really kind of like starting over because if particularly if you're married and you have children who leave the nest, it's almost like, because now the two of you have to relate to one another on something other than the children, right? And so it's almost like kind of starting over again and just getting used to having a space where it's just the two of you. Um, there's just all levels of starting over. And so I really want to sort of dive into seeking peace in the midst of it because it is a place where we can find ourselves really just not at peace, feeling scared, feeling anxious, having panic attacks, thinking of, what am I going to do? How am I going to get through this? And so, it could feel like you're sort of in an unknown path, or it can feel maybe like you're in a fork in the road and you're having to then make the decision of, wait, okay, do I go this way or this way? Like, how do I even start over? Like, where do I go to? How do I even, if I know that I need to sort of give something up and I need to start anew, like, where do I even start? Start with what? Start with who? Start where? Which path? You might have more than one option staring at you, and you're kind of like, okay, do I start over? Do I go to the left or do I go to the right? Now the on the left, I can see this path that looks like it goes straight. On the right, I can see the path, but then it kind of dips off. I can see the path to a certain point, but it kind of dips off in a different direction. I don't know where that's going. The path on the left looked like it's straight, but then again, I don't know. Maybe I can just see a little further distance, but when I get up there, it's gonna be surprising the turn that it takes. Like, I don't know, right? Which way do I go? Which way do I start? And so um it just comes from, that lack of peace is just like, I don't know what to expect. I don't know what to expect. I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. I don't know which way to go. I just don't know. And and so the first thing that I thought about in thinking through seeking peace, ways to seek peace in your starting over season is to first, confront and then embrace the need to begin again. Confront it, confront your fears around it, confront your grief, right? Because usually when we have to begin again, it's because whatever we had, either it didn't work or it's just our time to move on. It doesn't necessarily have to be a bad reason, but it is still a loss, right? And in that loss, you still feel that sense of a little bit of grief with that loss. And so you have to confront that. Confront, why am I so fearful of having to make a change and do something new? Um, why is there so much anxiety around it? Uh, who else do I know that has recently gone through a season of, needing to begin again, and they've made it through that maybe I can talk to, maybe I can, share with them what my fears are, what my reservations are, and, all of those things that are keeping me bound up and keeping me from feeling like I can be successful at doing something new. So confront that and really do that introspection that you can get to understand you, that you can begin to get to know you a little bit better, know what drives you, know what makes you tick, know those things that cause you uh fear and trepidation. Confront it. But once you confront it and you sort of work through the grief and you work through the fear and you work through, you know, the the not knowing and being okay with not knowing. Once you get through that, um, embracing that you need to start over, that part right there is so needed. Once you confront it and work through it, you get to a place of embracing, you know what? I'm going to start over because I need to, or even because I have to. It's time. That season, the season of whatever it was before, has ended. And now it's time for me to move on to a new season. And guess what? I've moved on to seasons before. For those of us who are seasoned individuals, when you hit that 50 mark, You don't even have to get to 50. I mean, really, honestly, I mean, you're going to be transitioning. You're going to be having to start over in some capacity in life, like all throughout the trajectory of your life. So when you are confronted with having to start over again, remember that you've done it before. You've done it before, right? Think about times before that you have been forced to or have just needed to start over. That person, my husband and I always, we always get, are grateful to people that we might have been in relationships with before who broke our hearts because maybe we wouldn't have found each other and have, been in this life thing together for 31 years. 30 years married, 31 years together. We're grateful. But in the process, when you get that broken heart, it don't feel good. It hurts. And before I met him, I was definitely singing that Deborah Cox song. You know, I, how did you get here? When I first met, like when we got together, nobody's supposed to be here. I tried that love thing for the last time, and I was set. I was done before I met him and before we became, an item, as they say. I was done with relationships. I was out. I was like, I'll be by myself and I'm gonna be all right. And then here he come, and just mess up all my plans. But I'm really glad that he did because, so when you're in those situations, it's like it hurts, when you have a bad breakup or something like that. But at some point, you get to a point where it's like, you know what? I'm not going to let that one mess up, that one, relationship that didn't work out stop me from experiencing the potential of a relationship that works really well. So I'm gonna put myself back out there and I'm gonna, meet people and do whatever and, try to, engage in a new relationship. And that's not only romantic relationships, that can be friend relationships as well, where, you had that good friend that was your good friend for a long time and but now, you're just in different places and spaces in life. Sometimes that happens like when you have children and your friends don't. Um, or when your friend is married and you're not. You're just in different places in different seasons, and sometimes the relationship just it doesn't work out because, the single person might not necessarily understand, hey, I'm married, and so yes, I have somebody else to answer to. And I can't just up and, fly to Timbuktu with you or go to the show with you. Like I have to other things to consider. And sometimes that friend might not, might feel like you just, trying to be whatever, you're trying to ghost them and all that kind of thing. And you're not really, you're just in different spaces in life. And so you have to move on and engage in relationships with other people who can identify with what you're going through in life and who can be a support. You can be a support and encouragement to each other. Um, there's nothing wrong with that. And it's not that that you like dislike a person or whatever, but it's like, our season is done. This where what we had in the years that we had it was wonderful, but we're at different places and spaces. I love you. I still encourage you, but in terms of just hanging out and all that kind of thing, we're just not there anymore. And be okay with that. So confront and embrace the need to begin again. And then once you embrace the need to begin again, assess the vision. Like what is your vision for your start over, for your new season? What is the seed that you need to plant to get the crop of fruit that you're looking to bear? And in order to do that, in order to know what seed to plant, you need to know which fruit you're trying to grow. Excuse me, I had a little tickle in my throat. But, so you have to sort of figure out what, what is it that I'm trying to gain here, and what is the seed that I need to plant to get it. And so, you know, what is your why, right? Why are you stepping into this new season? And as we just said, like it could be for multiple reasons that it just didn't, whatever before just didn't work out well, or it's just time to move on to something new, or, I'm being forced out of some place or some relationship, whatever it is. But what is your why now for wanting to start new? Now, your why doesn't have to be those things. Your why for starting something new can be, my why is I still got a lot in me to give, and I want to be happy. I want to do something, excuse me, that's going to make me that is going to give me some excitement about life. I want, I still, however much life I have left to live, I'm going to live it, and I'm determined to do that. And yes, it hurt that I lost whatever XYZ, or that that season ended. Yes, it's scary that I've got to move on to something new. But you know what? I'm ready to do it scared. Why? Because I feel like I've got more to give. I feel like I can, really make a difference in this new area. Whatever the case might be, but assess it. What is your why? For stepping into this new season, and then what do you see yourself accomplishing in the new season? What is it that you think you want to do? And then who is your tribe in this new season? Because not everybody can go with you, and of course, I'm not the first person to make that statement, but not everybody is going to be able to go with you where God is taking you. And sometimes it'll hurt. Sometimes those friendships that you had before, they end because those people cannot go with you where God is taking you. Because if they go with you, they're going to be baggage. If they go with you, they're going to be sinking your ship. If they go with you, there's going to be water pouring into your boat, because they are bringing their baggage and trying to make sure that because they're holding on to their baggage, that you hold on to yours too. So some of them got to be like Jonah, and you got to throw them off the ship. And that sound cold-hearted. That sound cold-blooded, don't it? I'm not talking now. I'm not telling y'all to go and literally throw somebody off of a boat. This is metaphorical, okay? This is not, because some of y'all out there might, y'all might be on a ship with somebody, and then you be like, Reverend Benita said something about throwing somebody off the boat. No, I'm not. No, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying as a metaphor, for life, not everybody can sail to the next destination with you. There's some people that's got to get off the boat because they're weighing it down with their baggage, and they're trying to transfer their baggage to you, and you already got your own. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? Does that make sense what I'm saying? I hope it makes sense what I'm saying. And so not everybody can go with you. And that hurts. I'm not going to belittle that. That hurts sometimes. It really does hurt. Um, but in the end, you will get to where you need to go. There will be other people who are able to come along for the trip, who's going to lighten your load, who is going to encourage you, who is going to cheer for you, who's going to cheer with you. It's not going to be those people that you tell them some good news, and they're kind of like, oh, that's nice. No, it's gonna be those people that when you tell them some good news, it's like, I knew it. I knew you had that in you. I knew you was gonna get that. Go ahead and get it. I'm with you. Like it's gonna be, and not in a fake way, right? But in a real way that really are happy when you do something and that you do something and you accomplish a goal that you've been trying to accomplish, and they are celebrating with you. They're not sitting there like sourpusses, like they've, as my husband would say, been sucking on lemon drops when you share with them some exciting, news that you're excited about. They're going to be excited just along with you. So, and so when you assess your vision, it's a vision that God gave you. Not everybody's going to see the vision because it wasn't meant for them to see. So sometimes you have to travel that road alone, and that can get weary. That can be even more scary. But if you must, you must. Um, and just believe that whatever tribe you need when you need it is going to be there when you need it. But don't depend on that, right? And so who is your tribe? Who are those people that's going to encourage you, that's going to support you, that's going to um cheer for you, um, that's going to clap for you, as Erica Badu would say. You know, um, you know, and so having when you have clarity around um your vision, it sort of calms the anxiety, and it also it gives you an excitement. Now, excitement can be anxiety producing as well, but it's a different kind of anxiety. It's an anxiety that like gets you revved up and kind of pushes you like, yeah, I'm ready. Let's do this, as opposed to the anxiety that's just like that you hold in your neck. Um, and so this is an aside. I'm sorry about this, but this just made me think about it. So I started physical therapy for this pain that I've been having in my neck. And the first day that I went to physical therapy, the physical therapist informed me or helped me to see like where the term pain in the neck and pain in the donkey um comes from. And she said that when we hold tension, we or anxiety, we hold it either in our neck. So she said some people hold it in their neck and others hold it in their behind. And so I guess I hold tension and stress. No, it was stress. It was hold stress in the neck because like out of nowhere, like my neck just started being stiff and all kinds of it's just real tight. So I've been kind of going to physical therapy and getting it worked out and kind of working through it. Um, but so when you have that kind of clarity, it kind of lowers your stress, and it kind of helps you to be able to think a little bit more clearly through, okay, this is the vision for the next season. Yeah, how do I get there? What are the steps that I need to take to get there? And then once um, realize the direction that you're going to move into, then you're able to sort of set small, achievable goals. Small, achievable goals. All right. Meaning nobody can swallow an elephant whole. Hopefully nobody's eating elephants. I don't that term, but it's just a good, again, it's a metaphor because an elephant is a very, very large animal, and making a move can be a very, very large animal as well, right? Mentally, it can feel like I've got to either climb over this animal, this giraffe, or this elephant, whatever, and I can't see how I'm going to tackle it. It's too big. It's too massive. So you gotta bring it down to those bite-sized chunks. And the goals that you set need to be small and they need to be achievable. And they need to be few. So maybe one day you might have two or three small goals, no more than three. Three small goals that you want to reach and jot them down, but they need to be achievable, not something real massive that then is just going to add a bunch of anxiety. Um, And then as you're thinking about, as you're setting your small achievable goals, you also put a timeline with those goals of when you want to achieve it. Maybe do something daily as opposed to, or maybe if you're one who does better with planning out your week, that might help you. I am sitting in the space that I use as my office in my house. My youngest daughter would say that it's her bedroom, but I say it's my office. And I have a board behind me that you all can't see, but it's a to-do. First thing I have up there is seek first the kingdom of God, right? Because I believe when you seek the kingdom first, as the word says, all the other stuff will be added. But I'm not even thinking about the stuff being added. What I'm thinking about is seeking the kingdom first. Because if I do that, then God's will for my life is going to take off. And it's going to be exactly what I need, right? But I sort of have it sectioned off into all the different areas of life. So I have my work to do, I have my church to do, and then I have my personal to do. But it leaves in front of me, the things in each category, that I need to sort of tackle, and I just sort of check them off as they're being done, and they're small, achievable goals. And they act as also reminders, right? So when you set a timeline, whether it's, oh, by the end of the week, I want to get this done, or by the end of today, I want to have this done. Um, your timeline is not to stress you out. If your timeline, if your timeline is stressing you out, if your timeline is like, oh my God, I'm making you be like, oh my God, I got so much to do by 9:09 tomorrow, then you need to change your timeline. Like the point of it is not to add more stress. The point of it is to give yourself some guidance so that you do something towards your goal. But now, if in reality you can't really get it done in a short amount of time, then don't stress yourself out. Don't beat yourself up about it. Give yourself some grace, extend your timeline, and keep taking the steps. Keep doing something until you achieve it. Don't beat yourself up about it. Don't do that. Get yourself an accountability partner that's going to and remind them to remind you. Remind them, say, hey, don't forget, set it in your calendar to, Wednesday at such and such a time. I need you to just either text me and say, hey, did you do X, Y, and Z? Or call me and say, hey, did you do what you said you was gonna do? Get somebody that's gonna help you to be accountable, but that's not also going to stress you out. Girl, I told you said you was going to do it by such and such day and you didn't do it. Like, you don't need anybody like that. That's going to be all, getting you all antsy. But just somebody that can just say, hey, I'm just reminding you, and remind them, look, you asked me if you're the accountability person, remind that person, listen, you asked me to hold you accountable. You asked me to hold you to task, and so I'm doing that. Now, don't get mad at me when I, remind you of certain things. All right, don't get mad at the people because you asked them to hold you accountable. If hold yourself accountable, and then you don't have to worry about them. All right. All right. And then the last thing is to take action. So once you've kind of set those small goals and once you have kind of set a little timeline that you would like to get certain goals accomplished, take action one goal at a time. You don't have to try to do 5,000 things at once. And I know that we live in a culture that believes in, everybody to be able to multitask. And everybody talks about multitasking. But our brains were not made to multitask. They weren't set up. The brain is not set up to multitask. The brain is set up to kind of focus on one thing at a time. And it's why so many of us, if we're doing 1,000 things, we're not doing any of them well because we're doing 1,000 things. And none of those things is getting our full attention. And that's most of us in America. And probably other places in the world too, but I'm speaking of America because I know because that's where I live and that's what I know. I know the culture here is to, just always look like you're busy and people get a kick out of, oh, I stayed up all night and all this kind of stuff. That's nothing to be excited about. That means you have poor time management. Yeah, that's not something to get an award for, that you stayed up all night working on something. Usually that's because you need to work on time management. You need to work on focusing. You need to work on, getting your skills to a place where you can, sit and focus on something and get it done. And so uh, it's important to rest, get in and be able to function fully, when you get that good rest. All right, so here are just, some final thoughts about, seeking peace. When you sort of put those strategies into place, you will find yourself being more at peace with starting a new season or in your start over season. You will be more at peace with your start over season when you are able to confront your fears around it and your anxiety around it. When you're able to finally embrace that, hey, it's time to start anew. It's time to start a new chapter. And when you assess your vision and you set small, reachable goals and you take action one goal at a time, um, that all of those things help to lower the temperature a little bit. Um, and you're able to take a breath. And as you're going through those steps, yeah, breathe. Remember to breathe. Remember to breathe intentionally. And in each breath, be grateful because every time you take a breath, it means that you're still alive. It means that you're still able to function. It means that when you've taken a breath before in a new season, you've continued to breathe and you will continue to breathe in a new season as long as God gives you the ability. As long as you're breathing, you're alive. And so live, live in your start over season. Don't be afraid of it. Don't be bullied by it. Those thinking, those thoughts in your mind. Don't be bullied by those thoughts. Take a stand in your start over season, and I guarantee you, you will have peace along with it, along with that transition. So thank you, hubby, for that. You didn't know that you spoke a word yesterday that would lead to this Mind the Bits of Monday tonight. But yeah, we gotta seek peace, man. It's an action. Seeking peace, seeking. It means it's something that you are doing, that you are continuing to do in this journey called life. You got to look for the peace to get it. Can't grab hold of it if you can't find it. So you got to look for it intentionally. All right. That's all. All right. So hope this Monumental Monday was encouraging for you. If you're in a start over season, put it in the comments. Let me know. Let me know if you're in a start over season of your life and how you're doing with it. Are you doing okay with it? Do you have peace in the transition, whatever it is? Um, or are you a little anxious, a little fearful? Like what is going on? And let's talk about it. If you are at a place where you desire to have some more in-depth talk or coaching, around your starting over season, um, hit me up. You can go to my website, benitaweathers.com, or you can also DM me, message me, and I will respond. And just we will do an assessment, and you can do a free call with me, and I'm happy to sit alongside you as you take the journey. All right. So, all right. So that's my mental money for tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for those of you who, if you didn't tune in live, that you're tuning in on YouTube. Thank you so much. Please share, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and share this. Please share with your community. And I look forward to doing more with Mind the Mental Monday in the upcoming year. I know I said that earlier this year, and then just some things was going on that it wasn't the time. Just wasn't the time. But I I did a post earlier too that I'm really excited that on my walk today, I got the topic for my next book that I'm going to be working on. So I'm real excited about that. I can't tell you how excited I am to finally have gotten the a full sort of firm idea, the title, and some of the things that I'm going to be talking about in it, which I can't reveal right now, but I'm ready to get to work. I'm excited. I'm ready for my creative juices are starting to flow again. I'm in a, great mental headspace right now. And I've really been doing the introspection, really been doing the work and doing the exercise and all the things. Um, the meditating, I do that every day anyway. But just adding to it, the therapy and the exercise has really just been very helpful, in just getting to a place where it's like I'm starting to get more downloads, more creative ideas. So I'm excited, and I hope you are too. I hope you're at an exciting place in your life right now. And uh, I hope you all continue to do well and have a wonderful week. I'll see you, Lord willing, in the creek don't rise. I'll see you next Monday on My Mental Monday. Peace.